Did you know there is a secret trick to saving your peony blossoms so you can enjoy them in months to come? I'm serious. All the peonies, they all want to bloom at the same time right now, but if you cut some of the bloom heads at the right point, you can actually save them in your fridge. So I'm going to show you how. This is the goal, is that we want to enjoy this peony bloom in like 3 months. Yes, 3 months. I have read some articles that somebody's grandma used to save them until Thanksgiving. I've never tried to save one that long, but I have saved them in my fridge for up to 3 months, and they still bloom open so beautifully. So here is what you're looking for. Every peony variety is a little bit different, and I will say that I've tried to do this like saving method with our Ito or Ito peonies. So if you have one that is like this, that is more this like single layer of petals, these do not seem to save as well as the herbaceous ones, which is kind of the like more standard garden peony. These are specialty ones. They're so beautiful. I got this plant as a gift from a friend. And so we just enjoy it to the full when it's blooming, but don't try to save these. Just enjoy them while they bloom in your garden, okay? Now for your standard herbaceous peony, which is probably what you have. That's what they sell at most garden centers, unless you're getting some specialty one. And a lot of them, they look like this, where it's like that big, huge, beautiful double bloom. I want you to go and check your plant because you are wanting to find, these are all stuck together. Okay, I want 2 different ones here because we have a couple different varieties. But you're wanting to find the blooms that, see how it looks kind of like a marshmallow, and you can squeeze it like that and you're like, ooh, it's kind of soft. The petals are starting to open. This is the perfect stage. And some varieties, even like this, show them this one, Bella. Even if it's like this, that's still good. This one, it would be a great one to save. I wait for them to get a little bit bigger than this, mainly so that the petals are a bit more formed. But do some at some different stages so that you can really see for your plant which stage opens up the absolute best. So I know it feels strange, you're cutting this and it's not even blooming yet, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna take off all of these leaves. We don't want the flower to have to worry about any of those leaves while it goes into storage. And there's essentially 2 different ways that you can do this, and it kind of depends on how much space you have in your fridge. I personally, because we have an extra fridge, I like to do the method where, let's make some space here. You can use newspaper. I have some like big pieces of craft paper that work really well. But essentially we're gonna take off all of those leaves and we're going to wrap these up and they're gonna go into the fridge. When you do it this way, where they're all wrapped up, you want them to actually lay flat, horizontal. So we have an extra fridge, so we're gonna lay them flat in the fridge. And here, come over here, Bella, and show them. If I can, like if I have space, I like to wrap them so that they're not touching each other, so that there's no chance, like if one of these ended up having a little issue with mold, it's not going to start molding or affecting the other ones. And yes, you probably will see some ants on your peonies, and they are there just getting a snack. They're not doing anything bad to the peony. They like to eat that sticky sap that is that the peony blossom produces as it's opening. So we're just gently rolling these. It doesn't need to be really tight, but you just want to make sure that they have a little protection from the fridge. But peonies are really interesting because they can hold like this in the fridge Oops, I should have said up to 3 months. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold some in our fridge both ways. So this is the first way, and I just put a rubber band around it to keep it tight on there. So this, I'll show you in a minute. We're gonna lay this flat in the fridge. The other way though that you can do it is if they have, let's say they've started to open just slightly, you can actually just cut them, and let's see, give them a fresh cut and put them in a vase or a glass that has just a small amount of water. Even these peonies right here, if we put these in our fridge, I'll be able to save them and use them next week. It will hold them. It basically, once they go into the fridge, it pauses the bloom cycle, and it allows them to, it allows you really to save them till later. So if you come out to your peony patch and you're like, oh my goodness, I don't want them to all bloom right now because we're gonna have family over next week and I wanna have the flowers on the table, cut them right now and put them into your fridge. And then it only takes a couple days, like if it's like this, when I take it out of the fridge like 2 days before I want it to bloom open, I give it a fresh cut and I put it in just like basically warm to the touch water, not hot water like you would make tea with, just like warm to the touch, and they will begin to bloom. And in a couple weeks, I'm gonna pull these out of the fridge to use them, and I will show you then what they look like. But right now, okay, let's cut another one. We'll cut this one. So just cut a long stem because you don't know like how long are you gonna want it later. Cut it really long as it can stand up in your fridge. And let's do one more. We'll do this one too. So you can see I have some at all these different bloom stages. Fresh cut into water. Okay, let's go put them into the fridge now. Come on and walk through the garden with us, okay? And this is how you're gonna have peonies for like whatever you want this summer. Or you could even see if you could get them to last until the fall. So if you don't have space or you don't have an extra fridge, do whichever method works best for your space. The cool thing about peonies is it doesn't affect them to be in the fridge with your produce, whereas some flowers really do get affected by that. But this is our extra fridge that we use for flowers and clearly lots of spritzer ingredients. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just let these hang out in here and they'll get shoved around and moved as we fill this with other things. We're so glad you can be here in the garden with us. I'll be sure to show you when I wake those peonies up so that you can see how they just open up and bloom. So go cut some of your peonies and make sure you hit subscribe so that we could hang out more, because did you know that when you watch any of our garden videos, you help us fight human trafficking. We donate a portion of all of our proceeds to Atlas Free, and we're so glad that we get to turn our garden and our kitchen and our table and all the goodness of life into a way to give somebody else freedom. So we're glad you're here. And down below, I put a link to our garden planning guide. If you are starting to like dig into your garden and you cannot figure out what you should plant, where you should plant it, how should it be set up, grab our garden planning guide. The ebook is full of everything I go through when I plan one of our garden beds, and it'll help you plan yours. Plus, we included all of the maps of our garden. So all of the different areas of our garden that you see when we go and do all the different videos, we included those maps for you. And I put one in there that's kind of like a beginner's cutting garden guide so that you can start a garden, forget being overwhelmed, and it'll help you do that. But we're so glad you're here. I'm gonna go head back to the garden.